Welcome to Wednesday Newsday, your #1 resource for the entire week's worth of VR news. We've actually got a lot of different stories this week, from information on the newest V43 Quest update to the original Quest seeming closer than ever to losing support for Meta. Google seems to finally be re-entering the VR scene in a very interesting way. The Quest 2's most viable competitor, the Pico 4, has been sort of revealed, and Apple's headset is once again looking imminent. But I also have something I really need to talk about regarding YouTube in general. We've got a lot to cover, so let's just get right into the news. Let's start this one off with a super important PSA. This isn't necessarily about VR, but if there's two things everyone here has in common, it's that you probably love VR and you watch YouTube. And over the past year, probably one of the biggest scams of all time has occurred right here in the comment section on YouTube. Running rampant are bot accounts that are impersonating me or other YouTubers, taking our profile pictures and usernames and commenting on sometimes thousands of comments with something like, "Hey, you just won a free VR headset, message me on Telegram." And once they have you off of YouTube and on Telegram, they take your shipping information, charge for a fake shipping fee on a free VR headset you'll never get, and just take your money. And this is especially a problem right now because I'm actually hosting a real giveaway at the moment for this community. Giving away a full-on PC, Index, and a couple Quest 2s, hopefully just to get a couple more people in VR, but this must have tripped the bots because they came right back into the comment section with a vengeance. And I'm doing everything I can, from scam bot purge programs to tightening filters, but some still get through the cracks. And I know this because I still get dozens of emails from people that are about to get scammed or have already been scammed. To give you an idea of how bad it's gotten, I've deleted nearly 10,000 scam comments, which I will continue to do, and I will also continue to read every comment like I always have, but I wanted to say to everyone here, I will never contact anyone through Telegram or WhatsApp for a giveaway. The only place I will ever host giveaways are on my Discord server, which is where this current giveaway is being held. So if you want to be a part of my giveaway, don't fall for this scam and just go there. And I'll continue to try my hardest to battle these bots, but you can also help, by the way. If you see something like this, report it for spam, because usually within hours the account gets deleted. You can actually make a good change for the platform. But now onto the VR news. Quest update V43. Some sort of big things are happening for the Quest platform pretty soon. Reddit user Delicious Potato discovered a new camera section within the public test channel, and supposedly this is going to bring much better recording tools to the Quest, including stabilization, aspect ratio, frame rate, and compression quality changes. This has been probably one of the most requested features since the Quest launch, and it seems Meta is finally getting down to it. But if you don't want to wait for V43, you actually can have all of these features already. You can turn on proper 16:9 recording using SideQuest, but getting this built into the headset is obviously a way better solution. However, that wasn't all that was discovered here during this public test. We are seeing some of the first surface level details for the upcoming Quest Pro, including individual app permissions to restrict or allow eye tracking and face tracking per app. But going back to the original Quest, something weird happened, and I'm kind of mixed on my feelings regarding it. And this, to be honest, is just the very beginning of the end for the Oculus Quest. Meta recently announced that they will be shutting down support for one of its biggest games, Population 1, but only for the original Quest. Starting October 31st, Quest 1 owners that purchase the game will suddenly be unable to launch or even play the game. A game that they bought, which is super weird. But it kind of makes sense when you break everything down. However, the writing is on the wall. As a standalone device, the Quest is getting closer and closer to being completely obsolete, and eventually maybe even unsupported. And the way this is being handled, which in my opinion is wrong, raises a lot of questions about the future of Meta's current lineup of headsets. And to be fair, Big Box, the developers of Population 1, acquired by Meta last year, are offering refunds to people that purchased the game, but only if you bought it within the last 6 months. And officially, Big Box stated that they're removing this support to, quote, focus on developing new experiences that will push the boundaries of multiplayer VR. Which, to put simply, they're just saying that the Quest 1 is holding holding back development. They can't do everything they want to because the Quest's limited power. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this is something we're about to see a lot more of. Either games pulling support from the Quest or adding updates that are only accessible on the Quest 2 or newer. Obviously really sucks for Quest owners. But it seems to me that Meta internally have decided that overall fidelity of their future and current titles are more important than maintaining backwards hardware support. Or they're just really trying to push the remaining users on Quest to upgrade to the newly priced Quest 2. Which, by the way, I had a very interesting experience walking through Target the other day, seeing a $500 Quest 2 on display. You know, a $100 price hike doesn't sound like that much, but I realized it's a pretty substantial jump, especially seeing it on a shelf. But even looking at recent Steam VR hardware surveys, the Quest 2 has continued to grow its market share of VR headsets, now completely dominating absolutely anything else. Meta accounting for 67% of all headsets on Steam. I understand the Quest being outdated by this point, and there being far fewer users than any other headset, at least from Meta, but I feel like there has to be a better way to do these things than just revoking access to a game that someone bought. Like, that's really pretty messed up. And I guess Quest 1 users really didn't lose access. Technically, you can still play Pop 1 over Link with a PC and the Quest 1. It is a cross-buy title, but if you don't have a PC, you're just out of luck. No more Pop 1 for you. And as we move forward, this does make me question if similar stunts will be pulled when a Quest 3 is released, but for the Quest 2 instead. Like, is Meta just going to keep pressuring its users to always have the most updated hardware, or else they'll just start losing access to their games? I don't know. This just sets a really weird precedent, and I don't necessarily like it. I get the reasons and intentions, and I know this won't necessarily affect that many people, but I don't like it, and I'm really hoping this isn't a trend in the future of just losing access to stuff. However, you can likely bet that in the future, more and more games are going to release to Quest 2 or newer headsets only. Whether or not that changes or things are revoked in the future, no clue, we'll have to see. And I guess this is one example of PC VR maybe being a little more stable of a platform in the future if this is how things are going to go down. But yeah, this is just an early rest in peace to the Quest. It's not dead, but it's certainly getting there. Although I do have to say, it's still a pretty good OLED PC VR headset though. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, it works fine. Just mobile hardware gets dated pretty fast. So, unless I change the title of this video by the time you're watching it, it's probably something like, "This is the end of the Oculus Quest." And you may have thought that was specifically regarding the original Oculus Quest and the last segment, but I'm gonna put out something that is purely my opinion and purely speculative. But I have a feeling that the era of the Quest, at least when referring to the Quest and Quest 2 being VR's absolute dominant headset, is showing signs of slowing down. Let me explain. It feels like the Quest line is fumbling in some ways. The upcoming Quest Pro likely to be a super expensive VR headset and the first new headset by Meta in a couple of years. The Quest itself increasing in price after 2 years of its launch. The terrible practices of removing access to things that people bought. The FTC continuing its hard pressure on Meta. And well, Meta just being Meta. And to be honest, Meta is faltering. They've got pressure from all sides while having a massive target on their back. And competition is about to hit them in every single way possible regarding XR. I'll start with the obvious one. PSVR 2 is coming sooner and sooner, and of course PSVR is a little different. First you have to own a PS5 and buy the headset, and it's not expected that the PSVR 2 will come around until the beginning of next year, but Sony's really putting a lot of resources into making PC quality games available for still cheaper than a PC VR setup. And I do wonder that if the PSVR sells really well, how will that affect people's view of the Quest platform as a whole? And we haven't even gotten onto the actual direct competition. The Pico 4 is on its way really soon. An analyst stating that this headset is going to be coming in September, and it's going to be a subsidized headset for a cheap price just like the Quest 2 is. Except it's likely going to be a better headset. For the first time ever, a competitor will have a competitive VR headset in the standalone segment. A recent spec leak shows just how much better, and well, the Pico 4 is looking kind of nuts. A much bigger battery, stepless IPD adjustment, pancake lenses for a much smaller headset, a higher resolution, wider field of view, RGB pass-through, and the Pro model will have eye tracking and face tracking. If Pico can keep the price down of this headset, then, well, the Quest 2 could very well be beat and beaten badly, especially considering that the Quest 3 isn't supposed to be coming until next year this time. And I'm not really sure if Oculus Oculus exclusive games like Beat Saber from 2016 will really continue to sell headsets in the coming years if they start lagging behind the competition this bad. Plus, this one launch, which apparently is now a global launch, not just a European headset, will directly compete against not only the Quest 2, but also the Quest Pro. But there's even more coming from other companies. I know Apple has been in the XR conversation for a long time. I mean, every single Apple event and WWDC, you got people saying this is the one that they're gonna make their VR headset announcement, and that hasn't exactly happened yet. But more and more reports are stating definitively that in January 2023, Apple will announce its $2,000 AR/VR headset with an onboard M1 8K displays, eye tracking, mixed reality capture, and expected by some analysts to be shipping 1.5 million devices next year. And while this is obviously way more expensive than the Quest, if the Quest Pro, which is launching later this year, actually costs the $1,500 it's stated to, then Apple's headset will be a serious hit to the Quest Pro sales. And really, this is just unprecedented for Meta and Oculus. They have competition, stiff competition, both priced below and above them and more feature-packed than them. They're not the only ones in the market anymore, and the target on Meta's back is just gonna keep growing. We really may be watching the end of the era of Quest. If these competitors do well and gain their own market share, well, you know, it's just gonna be way more fair. And believe me, I do not want Meta to fail, far from it, but I believe in fair competitive landscapes that are pro-consumer, that allow for choice and provoke innovation, which is what we're about to get, and I'm excited about that. And I don't think I can say this enough, but holy crap, guys, this next few years of VR is about to get insane. If you thought things were stagnating and they were gonna stay like this for a while, it's not gonna be this way for very long. But on the other side of things, something very interesting was recently announced by Google regarding the XR industry. They have announced the Immersive Stream, essentially a cloud-based mixed reality content delivery system that, for now, brings super high detail and quality augmented reality experiences to the smartphone. But in the future, we'll bring this content to full-on augmented reality and virtual reality headsets, all entirely cloud-based. And right now, they're focusing on something pretty difficult, photorealism, like a photorealistic car to showcase, for example. Something that can't be rendered on a mobile processor, which I find to be extremely interesting. I've talked about it before, but cloud-based VR just makes so much sense as long as the technology is there, enabling low latency, high fidelity VR experiences. Essentially, this means smaller headsets, cheaper manufacturing costs, over-the-air updates. It really would change the way everything is done for AR and VR, but we're still a long way from that being viable on a large scale. Google for now is only using this for a few applications, and most of them are enterprise-based. Still a very interesting re-entry into the XR segment by Google. Not that they ever really left. So this was actually a pretty interesting week of VR news. I was initially only going to make a video on the YouTube scam comment problem, but some pretty big stuff did happen, so I had to put together a video. And I'm also still working on this Neos video. It's probably turned into one of my biggest projects I've ever taken on. The story about Neos is incredible, and this is getting to the point where it could be a full-on documentary. But like I said, I'm working on it. And don't forget about that giveaway as well, only in my Discord server, never on Telegram. Links are down below in the description. But thank you so much to my Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas. I couldn't do any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.